All right, welcome back to the Success Money Marriage Podcast. I'm Steve Siebold.
And I'm Dawn Siebold.
And today we're going to talk about being a couple, working together in business, building a business together. And this concept is sort of, Dawn and I kind of think of it as a nonlinear concept. We've been developing this. I mean, we certainly didn't start this, so it's not our idea, I'm sure. But over so many years of being together, almost 40 years, we figured out one of the things that really helps us come back together as a couple and work together and live together as a couple and all that by separating ourselves sometimes with vacations. We take separate vacations. We take vacations together sometimes too, but we do separate vacations sometimes. Friends, different things to sort of escape each other. No, I don't know if it's escape, but I mean, at least
it's escape.
Escape is with you. It's escape.
It is. I mean, and I'm not, I mean, being serious because, every time, we close the door on the office, we have dinner, we're talking about business. We have breakfast, we're talking about business. And, we're in the car going, anywhere to a movie, we're talking about business. And I think it's just really healthy for a couple that are in business together, that are married. I mean, again, you don't even have to be married, but that you have an escape, that you can have different conversations with people who don't know what business you're in, who have no idea who your husband is or what y'all do. And it's just, I think, really healthy. I mean, once a year, I at least take one trip alone with my girlfriends or by myself, just to kind of get away from Steve and get away from the business.
What year did you do one trip? You've done one trip by mid-January.
I said at least one.
Oh, at least one.
I did say at least one.
Yeah, okay.
But no,
just for clarification,
I just think it's healthy to get away and have different hobbies. Don't do the same thing all the time. Like I know I have friends of mine who their husbands have to. If she bowls, he's going to bowl. If he's a runner, she's a runner. Or he plays tennis, she plays tennis. And I think it's just really super healthy to have your own activities outside. That you can separate and just get away, and I think that's really key.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it really is something to think about because I don't think to be a successful couple working together, especially when you're working together. I mean, right. I get the people that we've never had this, but we did for a while when you were in real estate for a few years, and I was building a speaking business when I was starting. You were, we would meet at nighttime, right. Usually 8 or 9 o'clock.
Right.
After being there for 12, 13, 14 hours.
Right.
And that was about the only time I guess we were ever separately, doing something because we were trying to build some
business
cash flow.
Wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up, me and my business partner, Bill Gove, ended up hiring Dawn to run the company 3 years after or whatever it was.
Right.
But so then I saw it because we would meet like at the bowling alley or a bar or some restaurant. And we would talk about our day, which was a long day.
Right.
It was usually, again, 9 o'clock, usually 10 o'clock because we were trying to build separate businesses, which is tough on your own and takes a long time, a lot of hours. But then, we never did it since. But I think that when you're together all the time, here's my biggest fault that I catch myself all the time doing it. I just can't seem to stop. Every time I see you, even when you go out with your friends or, you go on a trip, whatever, as soon as you walk in the door, I'm like, hey, how was your trip? And by the way, how were book sales last month? Can you check the number? I just can't, like when we're together, I think about business and then, and just because, and you can't get away. There's no escape, right?
Right.
I guess there's the word escape. Yeah.
Right. So I just recommend, again, having that conversation. If you're going to be together 24/7, it's not easy. It's not easy to be together 24/7. I don't care how well you get along. I don't care, how successful the business is or the challenges you're going through. Very difficult. And add children again. I know we don't talk about that enough on this show because we don't have kids. But add children to that, and then that mix is a mess. If one person's staying home and taking care of the kids, and the other one's taking a vacation, I would make sure it's equal and that you get a place to escape and you have that downtime, that rest and recovery that we talk about, and mental toughness to be able to get refreshed and recharged and you want to come back, Yeah,
and I probably there are people listening too that are maybe younger, just kind of getting started or saying, oh, that's great if you've got a bunch of money and you can go take trips all over and be separate and do the separate things, I guess, whatever. So I was just thinking that as we were saying it because we're just kind of used to that, but I would say that, even if you don't have the resources to get away in that kind of a fashion, maybe vacation or whatever, that maybe you do it within some modest way that you can just at least get away from that person's, like you said, have other conversations with friends or associates or something, where you're just talking about something else. Or, like I like to play guitar. I've been playing guitar for a long time. And one of the reasons I like guitar, why are you laughing? Was guitar funny?
No.
There's nothing funny about guitar.
No.
It's a very serious instrument.
I know it is.
Why are you laughing? What a jerk.
Well, I think play guitar is relative.
Oh, that's nice. That's real nice.
I think it's a relative statement.
Oh, you do, huh?
I do.
How good is your guitar playing?
I don't play guitar.
Oh, I see.
I'm not. When you said
it's
just funny because
jerk.
Hunter actually plays the guitar.
Okay, you're pulling Hunter in again.
Well, because he's easy to break it. I know.
Or hear Hunter.
But with the way you said it, you actually said it like I play guitar.
Oh wow!
But you play.
See, this is why stay single. Run away from this.
Listen, honey, I play guitar. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
But you don't go, I play guitar like I play guitar.
Oh, gee, you're just burying it now. You're just making it worse.
It was cute.
You're a terrible person.
Sorry,
you're a bad human being.
It was really cute.
You're just bad.
I play guitar.
Okay. So that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But thanks for saying that.
I think maybe you should bring your guitar in and play something for him.
Okay. Okay. What a jerk.
Then you can see how you play guitar.
What a jerk.
No, it's good. I'm teasing.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
All right, let's go back to it, jerk.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, this is great.
It does get you away.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I go far, far away.
Okay, you can see what this is my life, you guys.
Especially when you play guitar.
This is why I want to run away somewhere, anywhere. So
no, it's a great escape.
Yeah, no, it's great. One of the reasons I like guitar, which is where I started with this, was I can, it's something I can do by myself, and I can lock myself in the guitar room or wherever, and just play, and I don't need other people, and I don't have you barking at me all the time like you were just a second ago, and I can get away.
Right.
And escape you for a while.
Yes.
And then try to figure out my escape plan for my life.
Right.
Which I need more cash. That's why I have the GoFundMe account. Don't think anything about that. But GoFundMe, and by the way, if you're listening to this, send money. I need money to escape my marriage. I got to get away. I'm running away.
I do have something else I think we should add.
All right, go ahead.
And to be able to
About my guitar
escape.
playing?
No, I'm teasing.
Yeah.
I think you should also escape the business when you're together. We started doing that years ago to have just a date night where we try to not talk about business. Yeah. So it starts off that way, and then we try really, really hard to just separate, and it'll be going to a movie or a dinner. And again, if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of money to spend, it's just really being with each other and not talking about the business.
That's really hard to do.
And it's not easy. It's really hard to do. It's not easy. It's not easy for me either.
There's a million things. We have 3 companies. There's a lot to talk about.
Right.
Even if you have 1 company, there's a lot to talk about.
It is. But if
a million different things are going on.
Yeah, but luckily we've gotten better at it because you will float apart as your relationship starts to develop and you get a little bit more mature and things are more important now that you have to take care of, like kids, especially if you have children. If you're having 2 businesses or 1 business and you're working together and you have kids, it is a really smart idea to take one night and God bless you if you can do it. Everybody's probably better than you and I were, but we really do try to separate it. And I remember the first time we started trying to do that, we would go out. I mean, we were in our 20s, y'all remember, because Steve and I, when we graduated from college, Steve was an entrepreneur right away, and we would go out and we would just look at each other. I had
no job.
We would just look at each other.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Do you remember that?
I'm unemployed.
We would go to Applebee's. And we would just look at each other like, we're not talking about, here we are, not talking the business. Oh, we did go to El Chico's first. That's right.
It was 99 cents. Right. This is going back a few years. Like I said, Reagan's
36, 37, 38.
I would say 1984, 85.
Okay.
So Reagan's president, first. Back before he was a god. Now he's a god. Yeah. We won't get into politics yet. I suppose that'll come up. But anyway, we used to go to El Chico, which was a Mexican restaurant that was founded in Texas. It's no longer around, but it was. We liked it because they had refried bean dip for 99 cents. Of course, we had no money. We're in college, and we would have water. They'd come and say, "Would you like a drink?" Because it's like margaritas. And it's a Mexican restaurant. We'd say, "No, just water, please," and then chips. And then it was unlimited chips, 99 cents for the bean dip. And I'll never forget, it was $1.07. $1.07. We'd be like, we can totally. And then I don't know if we ever tipped. Did we tip like a quarter?
Maybe $1.
Tip?
No, we didn't tip $1. We didn't. No way.
That's half our budget.
Maybe a quarter. Yeah.
It was bad.
But my point was, we would go and we would just sit and look at each other because we'd have to think of things to say because we were trying not to talk about the business.
Yeah. Even then.
That
was when we were in it.
Right. So we were trying to get away and talk about family and friends and what you did but we worked most of the time, and so that was all we had to talk about.
I'm bad at it. I'm still bad because.
And then we got a dog. We could talk about the dog.
Yeah.
You know, we started getting dogs, but I would challenge all of you out there that if you know, definitely have an escape vehicle that you can be on your own and get away for a little bit, but also try to escape with each other and do it on a regular basis, because you know, I have so many friends of mine that wake up one day and there's nothing in common. You know, they've totally lost interest in the relationship. The business might be going great, but now I have nothing in common with the person that I fell in love with.
Well, you got the business in common.
You do, but the relationship. I mean, the business is great, but the relationship is rocky because we've failed to stay connected.
Have something in common.
Stay connected as a couple.
Well, I suppose if people have kids, that's what.
I think that's even harder.
In common,
no,
right?
I think that's even harder. I think.
But you have that in common.
You have it in common that you can talk about.
We have dogs.
Well, yeah. But you can talk about it. We have a hunter.
We do talk about the dogs. We do talk.
We don't talk about your hunter. No, but I mean, we do talk about the dogs. But I'm just saying,
which is really frightening. We talk about dogs.
I think that if you have kids, it is more important to maybe go on that date night, talk about the kids, talk about anything but business, and it's not. Or
go to
easy.
A movie or do something where you can get your head out of it. That helps if we go to a movie or something like that.
Right.
You know, because it's just something to get it out of you. Just anything to try to separate things.
Right.
It's more difficult, but also on the other hand, you know, you see, I guess maybe you hear about it, or I don't know. For me, I guess you see it in movies where the people have careers and they're really ambitious people and they're working until 7, 8 o'clock at night, like you do with a business together, and you literally just have nothing in common.
Right.
You know, like when you were in real estate and I was in the speaking business. I remember you were doing far better than I was, so you were killing me financially. Of course, you were doing way better. But we would, you know, you would talk about your deals and everything. But I don't really know, you know, too much about that. And then you didn't know too much about what I was trying to build. Right. And then, but once we got in, you know, in business together, then we had a lot more that did help. But then you have the other problem.
Then you have to go the other way.
Together all the time.
Got to go the other way.
Your tennis has helped too. That's been a good hobby for you to play tennis, and then you have tennis friends, and you talk to them about other stuff. But
we have several things. I mean, I like to scuba dive. You don't dive. I mean, my point is just find hobbies and interests that the other one doesn't have, just to be able to escape a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, no question. Well, it's something to think about for sure. And it is important. I mean, this is you know, just to wrap this show up. It's not an easy thing to do, is it?
No,
it really isn't. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to being in business together and being a couple. You know, you've got money issues, you got employee issues, you have payroll issues, you have I mean, there's an endless list, and it never ends, and it's up and down. You know,
and you don't want it to end.
No, so
you're in trouble. You're in trouble if it doesn't.
But I would say at the end of the day, you know, as hard as all these things that we're talking about, and we joke back and forth, obviously, to make it more palatable, you know, when you're listening to this, but at the same time, I mean this on a very serious note. I'm not kidding around. That there is as tough as it is to work together and then have to be a couple, and then the kids, again, like you said, I don't even know what that's like. That's beyond the scope of my expertise, certainly, and experience. But for people who have kids that are listening, I don't know. You're a superhero if you're doing all of this. I mean, that's just like beyond our scope.
That's the hardest job in the world.
We can't talk about that because we don't have any experience doing it. But at the same time, I would say that there's nothing richer, in my opinion, than building a business with your partner, with your, you know, wife, husband, or, you know, what do they say, a significant other, whatever, when you succeed.
Right.
You know, failing is one thing because you're fighting the fight together, but there's nothing more rewarding when you succeed because you know you did it together and you remember every single bump in the road that you went through, which usually are many, and the times you struggled, and then especially when you hit the home run. Yeah. I mean, if you're surviving, it's one thing. When you hit the home run and all of a sudden, you know, you're into some pretty high cotton financially. It's surreal. That's pretty surreal. And if you did, I think we never did it on our own, but I suppose if we did it on our own, it would be more hollow. You know, because now you're in the victory lane, and now you're celebrating, and you fought the fight together. And I think beyond that, and then I want to get your thoughts about this, and then we'll close it out. But I think that's one of the things that happens when that happens is you kind of build this bond that becomes unbreakable because you fought the fight together, you climbed the mountain, now you're at the top of the mountain, and now you can celebrate because you're really the only two people in the world that know every single thing that you went through together, every single detail of it. There's nothing that, you know, and the outside world doesn't know what you had to do to get there. They think you got lucky, or they think you're a genius, or they think whatever they think, but they don't realize that, you know, no one else has that experience or that connection that you do with your partner.
Right.
What's your take?
No, I mean, absolutely. And it's like they talk about when, guys go off to war together. You've gone through how would Larry Wilson say it?
You're in the foxhole together.
You're in the foxhole, but it's
shared significant emotional experience. Shared significant emotional experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And the longer you do that, hopefully when those men are at war, it's not that long, but when you've been married as long as we have, and there's a lot of that as the years go on, it's a hard bond. And we see a lot of people a lot of guys and girls in the speaking business, ladies that get divorced after they get success and they go their separate ways, and that kind of think they get, a little ahead of themselves.
They're missing the boat. That's the most.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing when you get to celebrate together. And it's not like it's like, woohoo, like you won the lottery. No, woohoo, you just survived a freaking war. Like you got, like people say,
you walked away.
Like you walked away. Like I work in the media pretty much every day, and I do interviews all over and whatever.
Right.
And people, when you have some success, people, want to know about that. And it's like, they're like, well, how do you feel? Do you feel like you got lucky, or do you feel like it's like, you got to be kidding. Yeah. Like, you have every scar from years of failures, years of bad decision, years of worrying about money, employee issues, regulatory issue, every issue you can have in business.
Right.
And so it's like you've fought the war.
Right.
It's and now you, in somehow, some way, you've had this tremendous uncommon success, but you're still carrying all of that. I don't want to say like in a negative way, but you've pulled this thing together up a hill, and you feel it. I mean, it's just a tremendous experience. But to do it with another person that you love more than anyone in the world, that's very, very special. Right. I don't think you can't buy that feeling.
No.
And you bond like nothing else. I don't think you could ever, that I know about. Maybe like you said, maybe war is a parallel but something like that.
I think kids too. I think when you've had children together, you go through that together.
Sure,
the longer you stay married, the more history you have, and you've gone through that together. You watch your kids grow up, and we actually do probably talk a lot about our business as a child. I mean, as having children, because that's kind of our child. But we're getting off the subject.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is that it's worth it. All these things you have to navigate, and all these shows we're going to do and talk about, if you stick with our little podcast here, is I think it's worth the fight. If this is what you want to do, is to work with your partner or make it better, it really is worth it. Especially and you're going to know it when you get to the top of the mountain where you want to be. It's very special because you've got this shared experience that no one can take away from you, and no one can ever really penetrate that closeness that you have. That bond. There's just no way you're thicker than thieves, as they say. There's really no way you're going to have that with anyone else. It's just not going to happen. Unless a supermodel might come along. You never know. It could happen. I think there might be some.
I'm okay with that. That's the bond. See that big bond we're talking about? I'm okay with that. No, I want you to have what you want, honey.
All right, we'll go off on another tangent if we get down that path. But once again, we appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back with another show talking about more success, money, marriage. Until then, take care.
Bye-bye.